My wife's brutal affair and endless lies exposed. My revenge? The truth. You won't believe how her entire life imploded. Hey Reddit. Using a throwaway, obviously. Never thought I'd be posting here, honestly. My life, or what I thought was my life, just imploded. I'm Daniel, 38M, and I've been married to Sarah, 36F, for 10 years. 10 years, guys. We built a life, a home, a dog even. I thought we were solid. Like, rock solid. The kind of couple people looked at and said, goals. We had our ups and downs, sure, who doesn't? But we always talk things through. Or so I thought. For the past 6 months, things have felt off. It started subtly, like a faint background hum you can almost ignore. Sarah, who used to be home by 6 p.m. without fail, started having late meetings. Then networking events. Then girls' nights that stretched past midnight. Her phone became her third limb, always face down, always muted. If I ever picked it up to, say, charge it for her, she'd snatch it back like I was trying to steal state secrets. She'd get defensive. What are you doing? Snooping, Daniel? And I'd back off, feeling guilty for even thinking about it. I rationalized it, told myself she was just busy, that her career was taking off, that she needed her space. We'd talk, or I'd try to. Everything okay, babe? You seem distant. She'd brush it off. Just stressed with work, honey. You know how it is. She'd hug me, kiss me, and for a moment, I'd believe her. But the feeling of unease, that cold knot in my stomach, it just wouldn't go away. It was like a little red flag flapping furiously in my periphery, but I kept telling myself it was just a piece of lint. Now I know that lint was actually a giant, bloody banner. The sex dried up too. Not completely, but it went from passionate and frequent to an obligation, if it happened at all. She'd always be too tired or have a headache. Our last anniversary, she fell asleep on the couch watching TV while I had flowers and champagne waiting in the bedroom. I felt like an idiot, standing there with a half-empty bottle and a wilting rose. I brought it up gently the next morning, and she snapped at me. God, Daniel, can't you just let it go? I told you I was tired. That's when I knew something was seriously wrong. I just didn't know how seriously. So, I started looking. Not actively, not like I was setting up a surveillance operation, but more observant. Like a detective who accidentally stumbles onto a crucial clue. One Tuesday, Sarah said she had an all-day conference out of town. Networking, babe, really important, she cooed, giving me a quick peck before heading out the door with an overnight bag. I wished her luck, genuinely. Later that afternoon, I was working from home, and our doorbell rang. It was the postman with a package for Sarah, a new pair of designer shoes she'd been eyeing. He said, "Your wife just missed these. She was actually out getting the mail a few minutes ago." My heart literally stopped. Out getting the mail? I asked, my voice probably betraying my confusion. Yeah, like 5-10 minutes ago. She just went back inside. I thanked him, took the package, and stood there in the hallway, the blood rushing in my ears. Sarah was supposed to be out of town at a conference, an all-day conference, but she was home, getting the mail. My mind started racing, connecting all the little red flags into one gigantic, screaming crimson banner. The late nights, the phone glued to her hand, the sudden defensiveness, the excuses, the lack of intimacy. It all coalesced into one terrifying, undeniable thought. She was lying. She'd been lying for months. I didn't confront her immediately. I couldn't. I felt like I was going to throw up. I just put the package on her side of the bed, went into my office, and pretended to work. My hands were shaking so bad I couldn't type. When she finally arrived home, that evening, around 8 p.m., she walked in with a fake exhaustion, dramatically dropping her overnight bag. Ugh, what a day, honey. So much to catch up on. She acted like she'd just endured a marathon. I just looked at her, my face probably a mask of disbelief, and said, "Postman dropped off your shoes today. Said you just missed him because you were out getting the mail this afternoon." The color drained from her face. Every single drop. She went completely pale, like she'd seen a ghost. Her eyes darted around, looking for an escape, a plausible lie. The mail?" she stammered, her voice a reedy whisper. "Oh, right. I forgot I needed to grab a few things for the trip. Came back for an hour, then went right back out." She actually tried to make eye contact with me, but her gaze kept flickering away. It was a pathetic, transparent lie. My wife, who couldn't even manage to pack a toothbrush without a list, remembered a few things for a trip that she was supposedly already on, and then just decided to pop home for an hour in the middle of a very important all-day conference? I just stared at her, the silence in the room deafening. "Sarah," I said, my voice dangerously calm. "The postman said you were just out getting the mail. 10 minutes before he got here. You weren't out of town all day, were you?" Her facade completely crumbled. She started to cry, but it wasn't a genuine, heartbroken cry. It was more of a performative, caught red-handed cry. "Daniel, please, don't jump to conclusions," she sobbed, burying her face in her hands. "It's not what you think." "Oh, really?" I shot back, my voice rising now, the calm cracking. "Then what is it, Sarah? What is it when my wife, who's supposedly out of town, is home getting the mail? What is it when you're suddenly working late every single night? What is it when your phone is glued to your hand and you snap at me if I even look at it? What is it, Sarah? Tell me." She finally looked up, her eyes red, but still evasive. I've just been so stressed, Daniel. Work has been insane. And I felt like you weren't really listening to me, weren't supporting me. I needed an outlet. An outlet. That's what she called it. She didn't confess, not directly. She just threw out these vague, self-pitying excuses, trying to deflect and make me the problem. It was infuriating. My blood was boiling. I just stood there, watching her, feeling a cold, hard rage beginning to set in. This wasn't just a lie. This was a whole narrative of lies, woven meticulously over months, designed to deceive me. And I was done with it. I needed answers, real answers, not this garbage. I didn't shout. Not really. My voice was low, almost a growl, but every word felt like a hammer blow. An outlet? Sarah, are you having an affair? The question hung in the air, heavy and suffocating. She flinched, then looked away again, wiping her fake tears. No, of course not. How could you even ask me that, Daniel? More gaslighting, more deflection. But then, a flicker. Her gaze snagged on something behind me, her eyes widening just for a second. I didn't turn around. I kept my eyes fixed on her. "Then tell me where you were today," I pressed. "And tell me why you felt the need to lie about an all-day conference when you were clearly here." She stammered, I was just home. I felt sick. I didn't want you to worry, so I just said I was at the conference." Another lie, even more ridiculous than the last. She thought I was an idiot. My sick wife, who was too tired to make love on our anniversary, now had the energy to sneak home and then go back out to a fake conference? It was insulting. At that moment, our dog, Buster, who usually greeted Sarah with frantic tail wags, wandered into the living room, sniffing suspiciously at her overnight bag. He pushed his nose into the open top, and a small, crumpled receipt fell out onto the floor. It was from a local upscale restaurant, dated that very afternoon. Not from a conference center. Not from a sick day at home. My eyes snapped to the receipt, then back to Sarah. Her face was pure horror. "What's this, Sarah?" I picked it up. "Dinner for two. Today. At the Gilded Spoon." Not exactly a takeout joint, is it? And it says, Table 7. I don't see a conference logo anywhere on this. She finally broke. The dam burst, and this time, the tears seemed genuine, laced with panic. Okay, fine. I was out with Mark. Just Mark. From work. We were talking. He's been really supportive. Mark. Her new boss. The one she'd been raving about for months. The red flags started flashing like a strobe light. Supportive? I asked, my voice barely audible. Supportive how, Sarah? Did he support you in coming home for a few things then lying to your husband about it? She started to babble, a torrent of excuses and half-truths. "It's nothing, Daniel, I swear. We just had a tough project, and he was helping me through it. We just had a drink, maybe dinner. It just got late, and I didn't want you to worry, so I stayed at a hotel." A hotel. My mind went blank. Stayed at a hotel? With her boss? After dinner and drinks. This was no longer just a few late nights. This was a full-blown betrayal. The world tilted on its axis. My wife, my partner, my best friend, was a stranger, a liar, a cheater, and she was standing right in front of me, trying to spin a yarn while a receipt for a romantic dinner lay at my feet. The pain was physical, a punch to the gut that left me breathless. It was all a lie. All of it. The silence that followed her confession about just staying at a hotel was deafening. My brain, which had been frantically trying to process the escalating absurdities, just stopped. It felt like someone had hit a massive mute button on the entire world. I looked at the receipt in my hand, then at Sarah, who was now truly sobbing, gasping for air between choked apologies that sounded hollow and self-serving. It meant nothing, Daniel, I swear. It was a mistake. A huge mistake. I didn't believe her for a second. The careful orchestration of lies, the evasiveness, the sudden panic when caught. This wasn't a mistake. This was a calculated deception. My stomach churned, a nauseating mix of betrayal and raw, visceral anger. My hands clenched, the receipt crumpling further. I wanted to scream, to smash something, to just disappear into thin air. But I couldn't. I was rooted to the spot, watching my decade-long marriage crumble into dust right before my eyes. The emotional impact was like being hit by a freight train. One moment, I was a happily married man, if a little concerned. The next, my entire reality was shattered. It wasn't just the affair itself, though that was a monumental betrayal. It was the absolute, unbridled disrespect. The lies she spun, the contempt she must have had for me to think I was so stupid. Every late night, every conference, every tired excuse, it all played back in my mind like a horrifying highlight reel, each moment a fresh stab. I felt like an utter fool. All those months, I tried to be understanding, supportive, giving her space, believing her flimsy excuses. I defended her to my own doubts, to that nagging voice in my head. And all the while, she was off with another man, laughing, dining, probably sleeping with him. The thought made me physically ill. My head throbbed, and a cold sweat broke out. It was more than just anger. It was a profound sense of loss, a grief for the future I thought we had, for the person I thought she was. The woman I loved was a stranger, a cruel imposter. The pain was so sharp, so overwhelming, that for a moment, I just wanted to curl up on the floor and cease to exist. All the happy memories, all our shared dreams, felt tainted, like a beautiful painting slashed into ribbons. It was a brutal, brutal awakening, and it hurt like nothing I'd ever felt before. The immediate aftermath was a blur. I remember telling her to pack a bag and leave. She tried to argue, to plead, to cry more, but I just stared at her, my eyes probably dead. "Get out, Sarah. I can't look at you right now." She eventually packed a small bag, still blubbering, and left. The house felt eerily silent once she was gone, but the silence was better than the noise of her lies. I spent the next few days in a fog. I didn't eat, barely slept, just stared at the walls, replaying every interaction, every lie, every moment of my blissful ignorance. The anger was a simmering cauldron in my gut, occasionally boiling over into uncontrollable shakes. But underneath the anger was a deep, aching sadness. It was like a death, the death of a relationship, the death of a dream. I grieved for the future I'd lost, for the trust that was irrevocably broken. I called my best friend, Mark, different Mark, thankfully, and just spilled everything. He listened, patiently, letting me vent, rage, and cry. He didn't offer platitudes, just unwavering support, and a promise to kick her ass if I ever gave the word. That helped, knowing I wasn't alone. Then, the acceptance started to creep in, slowly but surely. It wasn't acceptance of her actions, but acceptance of my new reality. My marriage was over. The Sarah I loved didn't exist. She was a fantasy, a construct of my own desire to see the best in her. This new Sarah, the liar, the cheater, was someone I couldn't and wouldn't live with. The decision on how to move forward became chillingly clear. I needed to divorce her. There was no coming back from this. No amount of counseling, no apology, no begging could erase the depth of her betrayal. The trust was gone, incinerated. I started making calls. A lawyer first, then changing the locks on the house. I had to protect myself, my assets, my sanity. It felt clinical, almost cold, but it was a necessary step. Every action I took, every call I made, was a nail in the coffin of our marriage. And with each nail, a small part of the pain receded, replaced by a growing sense of resolve. This wasn't just about ending a marriage. It was about reclaiming my life, my dignity. I was done being played for a fool. The brutal reality of her actions demanded an equally brutal response from me. I wasn't going to roll over and play dead. I was going to fight for myself, for the future I deserved, one without her lies tainting it. The path was clear, albeit painful. Divorce. And then, rebuilding. A new life. The divorce proceedings were exactly what you'd expect. Messy. Sarah, true to form, tried to portray herself as the victim, crying to her friends about my unreasonable behavior and how I was punishing her for one mistake. She even tried to argue that I was the one who pushed her away, that my focus on work, which was, ironically, to provide for us, made her feel neglected. I just let my lawyer handle it. There was no point in engaging with her twisted reality anymore. Every time she tried to manipulate, every time she spun another lie, it just solidified my decision. I was done, but I wasn't just going to let her walk away unscathed, not after everything. The brutal revenge wasn't about violence, because that's not who I am. It was about exposing her, about hitting her where it hurt, her reputation and her carefully constructed image. I knew Mark, her boss and affair partner, was married with kids. I also knew his wife was a good, honest woman, a friend of Sarah's, in fact. That was the final, sickening twist in this whole nightmare. So, I gathered everything. The receipt from The Gilded Spoon, screenshots of suspicious late-night texts from Mark that I'd found on Sarah's tablet. She'd stupidly synced it to our home computer, thinking I'd never look, and even a couple of pictures I'd discreetly taken of Sarah's car parked outside a hotel a few blocks from their office on nights she was supposedly working late, or with girlfriends. It wasn't much, but it was enough. I compiled it all into a discreet envelope. No return address, just Mark's home address, which I got from public records. It wasn't about being petty, it was about justice. Sarah had destroyed my life, and in doing so, she'd involved an innocent woman. I wasn't going to let that go. Mark's wife deserved to know the truth. Sarah deserved to face the consequences, not just from me, but from her own actions ripple affecting through her social and professional circles. The satisfaction wasn't immediate, but a quiet resolve settled over me. This was the cleanup. This was the brutal truth. I wanted to reclaim my life, and part of that meant ensuring she couldn't just brush this under the rug and continue her charade. She liked to lie and manipulate. Fine, but some truths have a way of finding their way into the light, even when you try to bury them. The revenge was simply revealing the truth. And sometimes, the truth is the most brutal weapon of all. A few weeks later, I heard through the grapevine that Mark's wife had filed for divorce. The office gossip went wild. Mark, who was usually impeccably composed, started looking haggard and stressed. Sarah, meanwhile, had taken to spreading rumors that I was the one who had driven her into Mark's arms, due to my emotional distance and workaholic tendencies. She was still playing the victim, trying to spin a narrative that painted me as the bad guy. It was infuriating, but I expected nothing less from her. But then, things escalated for her. Her little victim act didn't stick for long because Mark, in an attempt to save face and deflect from his own crumbling life, started telling people that Sarah was the one who had pursued him relentlessly, even when he tried to resist. He threw her under the bus, hard. Suddenly, her supportive boss had turned into her accuser. The office environment became toxic for her. The women in the office, especially, gave her the cold shoulder, disgusted by her actions, especially with Mark's wife being known and liked. Sarah's girlfriends, who she supposedly spent all those late nights with, they started disappearing. One by one, they unfollowed her on social media, ignored her calls. The social circles she'd cultivated, the image she'd so carefully crafted, began to unravel. It was almost poetic justice. She thrived on attention and validation, and now she was losing it all. The whispers, the pointed looks, the sudden silences when she entered a room. It was a slow, agonizing social death. Her career taking off stalled. Mark, in a fit of self-preservation, started assigning her to menial tasks, effectively sidelining her. He probably feared her exposing more, or simply wanted her out of his sight. This wasn't my doing directly, of course. I just planted a seed of truth. The rest was the natural consequence of her own choices and the chaos she had created. It was brutal, yes, but it was self-inflicted. She thought she could lie and cheat with impunity, destroy a decade of my life, and just bounce back. But the world, and other people, don't always forget. And her carefully constructed web of deceit eventually caught her. She was now reaping what she had so brutally sown. And I, for the first time in a long time, felt a sense of grim satisfaction. The path to rebuilding felt a little less impossible now that her lies were finally catching up to her. Want to support more stories like this? Subscribe to my YouTube channel and like the video. Just kidding, mostly. But seriously, it was a moment of profound clarity. While Sarah's world was collapsing, mine, slowly but surely, began to mend. The divorce was finalized, and I managed to keep the house and the dog, which was a huge win for my emotional well-being. Buster, my faithful companion, was a constant source of comfort through it all. He didn't care about my marital status or financial woes. He just wanted cuddles and walks, and that simple love was exactly what I needed. The emotional impact, while still present, shifted from raw pain to a dull ache. It was like a wound that had finally scabbed over, still tender, but no longer bleeding profusely. I started going to therapy, something I never thought I'd do. It helped immensely, providing a safe space to process the betrayal, the anger, the grief, and the profound confusion. My therapist helped me understand that Sarah's actions weren't a reflection of my worth, but a reflection of her own character flaws and insecurities. That was a crucial realization. It wasn't my fault. I also reconnected with old friends I drifted away from during my marriage, people who offered genuine companionship and distraction. We went hiking, played board games, just hung out. Small, normal things that started to fill the void left by Sarah's absence. I even started picking up old hobbies I'd abandoned, playing my guitar again, sketching. It felt like I was rediscovering parts of myself that had been dormant for years. There were still bad days, of course. Days when the memories would flood back, when the sense of betrayal felt fresh, when I'd catch myself wondering if I could have done something differently. But those days became fewer and further between. The grief was real, but it was slowly giving way to hope. Hope for a future where I wasn't constantly looking over my shoulder, where I didn't have to decipher every word, every glance, for a hidden lie. Hope for a genuine connection with someone who valued honesty and respect. It was a long road, and I knew it wasn't over, but I was finally moving forward, one tentative step at a time. The brutal truth had set me free, even if it had left me battered and bruised in its wake. The decision to move forward, for me, was less about seeking a new relationship immediately and more about rebuilding myself from the ground up. It was a conscious choice to prioritize my own healing, to rediscover who Daniel was outside of being Sarah's husband. I changed the decor in the house, got rid of things that reminded me too much of her. Even something as simple as replacing the shared photo album with new pictures of Buster and me on hikes felt like a small victory, a reclaiming of my space. I started investing more in my career, not as an escape, but as a way to channel my energy constructively. I took on new projects, learned new skills. The focus and discipline were good for me, pulling me out of the endless loop of rumination. And importantly, I made sure to maintain a consistent routine of self-care. Gym, healthy eating, spending time outdoors. These might sound like cliches, but they truly were lifelines. They grounded me when I felt adrift. Sarah, predictably, eventually reached out. A flurry of texts, then an email, filled with what she hoped sounded like remorse. "I miss you, Daniel. I made a mistake. Please, can we talk?" She even tried to invoke Buster. "How's my little guy? I miss him so much." I didn't respond. Not because I was still angry, though residual anger certainly lingered, but because there was nothing left to say. Her apologies felt empty, calculated. Her remorse wasn't for the pain she caused me, but for the consequences she was now facing. It lacked authenticity. The woman who had brutalized my trust with her lies was not someone I could, or would, ever open myself up to again. I had found my resolution not in vengeance, but in detachment. The brutal revenge wasn't about physically harming her, but about allowing the truth to take its course and then severing all ties. My peace depended on her absence, not her suffering. And as I slowly began to enjoy my life again, the quiet mornings with Buster, the challenging projects at work, the laughter with friends, I realized that this was the true resolution. This was me choosing myself, choosing my future, and choosing to finally live free from her toxic influence. It wasn't about revenge anymore. It was about liberation. Looking back, the whole experience was a brutal education. I learned some incredibly harsh truths, not just about Sarah, but about myself and the nature of trust. The biggest takeaway, the one that truly sunk in, is that you can't build a stable future on a foundation of lies. It's like building a house on quicksand. It looks solid from the outside, but one day, it all just collapses. I also learned the importance of listening to that gut feeling, that nagging unease. Those little red flags I kept rationalizing away, they were real. They were my intuition screaming at me, and I ignored it for too long, afraid of what I might find. Now, I know to trust that instinct, even if the truth it points to is painful. Denial is a powerful force, but it's a dangerous one. For anyone out there going through something similar, my advice is this. 1. Trust your gut. If something feels off, it probably is. Don't let fear of confrontation or the desire to maintain peace blind you to reality. 2. Gather evidence. As uncomfortable as it feels, facts are crucial. They protect you from gaslighting and give you solid ground to stand on when facing the truth. 3. Prioritize yourself. The initial shock and pain are immense, but your well-being comes first. Seek support from friends, family, or a therapist. Don't isolate yourself. 4. Accept the reality. The person you thought you knew might not exist. Grieve the loss, but don't cling to a fantasy. Acceptance is the first step towards healing. 5. Brutal honesty for brutal betrayal. Don't let them off the hook with flimsy excuses. Demand the truth, and then act accordingly. Sometimes, the most brutal revenge is simply letting the truth unravel their lies, and then walking away, never looking back. 6. Rebuild, don't just react. Focus on what you need to heal and build a better future for you. Don't let their actions define your next steps or consume your life. It's been a long, arduous journey, and I'm still on it. But I'm stronger, wiser, and more resilient than I ever thought possible. My life now is peaceful, genuine, and free from deceit. And that, in itself, is the greatest victory. You can rebuild. It hurts like hell, but you absolutely can. Stay strong, Reddit. Please like this video and subscribe to my YouTube channel for more relationship advice. Kidding. Mostly. But yeah, if I had one, I'd totally be sharing this. As time went on, the raw edges of the pain smoothed over, replaced by a quiet strength. I started dating again, tentatively at first. It was a strange experience, meeting new people, navigating the world as a single man after so long. I was upfront about my past, not in a trauma dump way, but in an honest, this is who I am and what I've experienced way. Some dates were awkward, some were nice, and some were genuinely promising. I learned to be patient, to trust my instincts, and to recognize red flags early on. It was a process of learning to open my heart again, but with stronger boundaries and a clearer sense of what I deserved. Buster remained my steadfast companion. Our walks became longer, our cuddles more profound. He was a grounding presence, a reminder of unconditional love that had nothing to do with human complexities. I also reconnected with my family more deeply. My sister, who had always been a rock, became an even closer confidant. Sharing my story with them and receiving their unwavering love and support reinforced the idea that I wasn't alone and that true relationships were built on something far more substantial than fleeting infatuation or manipulative lies. I occasionally heard snippets about Sarah through mutual acquaintances. Very few remained in her orbit. Her career never recovered, and her social life was practically non-existent. She tried to move to a new city for a fresh start, but it seemed her reputation, or at least the consequences of her choices, followed her. There was no joy in hearing it, just a detached acknowledgement that actions have consequences. The desire for brutal revenge had completely faded, replaced by a simple indifference. Her suffering wasn't my concern anymore. My focus was on my own well-being, my own happiness. The brutal reality of betrayal forces you to confront your own resilience. It strips away illusions and leaves you with the bare bones of who you are. And what I found, beneath all the hurt and anger, was a stronger, more authentic version of myself. I learned that true strength isn't about never falling, but about getting back up, dusting yourself off, and choosing to build something better. And that's what I was doing, one day at a time. The past was a scar, a reminder of where I'd been, but it no longer dictated where I was going. My future was finally my own. One unexpected consequence of my ordeal was a surprising clarity about what I truly valued in life. Before Sarah, I'd been ambitious, focused on career success, and kind of took the relationship stuff for granted. After the implosion, I realized that genuine connection, integrity, and peace of mind were infinitely more important than any external markers of success. This shift in perspective fundamentally changed how I approached everything. I started volunteering at a local animal shelter, something I'd always wanted to do but never had time for. It was incredibly rewarding, a simple act of giving back that filled me with a sense of purpose. It put things into perspective, reminding me that there was a whole world of goodness and kindness out there, far removed from the petty dramas of human betrayal. The animals, with their innocent trust and unwavering affection, were a balm to my soul. My work life also evolved. I found myself less driven by external validation and more by intrinsic motivation. I still worked hard, but I no longer let it consume me. The boundaries I set for myself in my personal life started spilling over into my professional one. I learned to say no when I needed to protect my time and energy, something Sarah would have scoffed at, calling it unambitious. But for me, it was about maintaining a healthy balance, a lesson hard one. I also found a deeper appreciation for the small, everyday joys. A perfect cup of coffee in the morning, Buster's happy bark when I came home, a good book, a quiet evening with a friend. These simple moments, once overshadowed by the constant hum of anxiety about Sarah, now shone brightly. It was as if the emotional shockwave had cleared away all the clutter, allowing me to see what truly mattered. I was rebuilding not just my life, but my entire philosophy of living. It was a profound transformation, born from the ashes of betrayal, and it made me stronger than I ever thought possible. This journey of self-discovery, fueled by the painful lessons of the past, was probably the most unexpected and valuable part of the whole brutal experience. As the years passed, the memory of Sarah and the betrayal faded into the background, becoming less a searing wound and more a distant, dull ache, a historical fact rather than a present pain. I eventually met someone truly wonderful, Emily. She's kind, honest, and incredibly grounded. Our relationship is built on mutual respect, open communication, and an honesty that feels refreshing and secure. There's no games, no hidden agendas, just genuine connection. It's a stark contrast to what I had, and it makes me appreciate the authenticity even more. I shared my past with Emily early on, the entire brutal story. She listened with empathy, not judgment, and it solidified my trust in her. She understood why boundaries were important to me, why honesty was paramount. It wasn't about her being a replacement for Sarah, but about building something entirely new and healthy with someone who truly saw and valued me. Buster, bless his heart, adored Emily instantly, which was a huge seal of approval in my book. We've created a beautiful life together, full of laughter, shared adventures, and quiet companionship. The scars of the past are still there, a reminder of the battles fought, but they no longer define me. They are just part of my story, part of the strength and wisdom I've gained. My advice now, looking back, is that while brutal betrayals inflict brutal pain, they also offer a brutal clarity. They force you to look inward, to redefine your values, and to learn what you're truly made of. The path to healing isn't linear, and there will be setbacks, but it does lead to a place of peace and genuine happiness. You don't have to let someone else's cruelty dictate your future. You have the power to reclaim your narrative and build a life that is truly yours, authentic and free. This experience, while devastating, ultimately led me to a richer, more meaningful existence. It forced me to grow in ways I never would have otherwise. And for that, in a strange, twisted way, I am almost grateful. One particular incident stands out as a final, almost comical, nail in the coffin of my past self. About 5 years after the divorce, I bumped into one of Sarah's old girlfriends, or rather, someone she used to call a friend. We were at a mutual acquaintance's barbecue. Karen, her name was. She looked uncomfortable seeing me, probably unsure how to act. After a few polite but strained exchanges, she pulled me aside. "Daniel," she said, lowering her voice, "I just wanted to tell you. I'm really sorry. About everything. Sarah, she was a piece of work. After you guys split, she tried to badmouth you to everyone, saying you were controlling and cold. But then, as her own life started to unravel, we all slowly pieced together what really happened. especially after Mark's wife divorced him, and he let slip a lot of details about Sarah's manipulation. It wasn't just him, apparently. She was playing a lot of people. Karen then recounted stories of Sarah lying to her about finances, about other friends, about trivial things that just added up to a pattern of deceit. Honestly, Karen concluded, shaking her head, she was just a really unhappy, dishonest person. I feel terrible for how she treated you. You deserved so much better. It wasn't a moment of triumph or renewed anger. It was just confirmation. The truth I had always known, now validated by someone from her own circle. It brought a strange sense of closure. I thanked Karen, genuinely, and told her I appreciated her honesty. I didn't need vindication anymore, but it was nice to know that my perception wasn't skewed, that others had eventually seen through Sarah's facade too. This conversation, oddly enough, truly helped me let go of the last vestiges of doubt and hurt. It wasn't about Sarah's downfall, but about the world seeing her for who she truly was, independent of my actions. My revenge, if you could still call it that, wasn't something I actively pursued, but the brutal, unvarnished truth eventually found its way out, confirming my ordeal and cementing my path forward. It was a testament to the fact that while you can try to bury the truth, it has a stubborn way of clawing its way back to the surface. And when it does, it brings its own kind of justice. That day, I truly felt free.